Top Gun Maverick rules. This is without question my favorite movie of the year so far. It is the most fun I've had in a theater outside of Marvel cameo crap in a very long time. And it's probably the first action blockbuster since Mission Impossible Fallout that's truly on a completely different level from anything else on the big screen these days. And I say this as someone who liked the first Top Gun but never truly loved it. I like it for what Tony Scott did at the time, but it's never really been my favorite. So if you didn't like Top Gun, I think this one completely stands on its own, and if you're a shirtless beach volleyball loving fan of the original, this sequel is even better. Short review aside, in this video, I want to dive into some of the filmmaking and technical aspects of Top Gun Maverick and the key element to its success, the one and only Mr. Tom Cruise. There's a general consensus among non-cinephiles that Tom Cruise is just some crazy guy that likes to hurl himself out of airplanes, climb skyscrapers, and jump on couches. But some of his best performances are the ones where he isn't performing stunts at all. I'm a huge fan of what I like to call the Tom Cruise puzzled performance, where he can simply emote entire scenes using nothing but this puzzled look on his face. But beyond his acting chops and insane dedication to pushing the limits of his body and mind, I think what makes Tom Cruise such a brilliant actor is Tom Cruise loves movies.
I never went to film school, but I knew movies as a kid. Suddenly I'm making taps and I realized like this is happening. I'm on a movie set for the first time. I'm 18 years old. And what I did was I went to every single department and I studied every single department because I thought if I never get to make another movie again, I want to understand what it is.
This early enthusiasm that Tom had for the craft of filmmaking has extended throughout his entire career. He's never a passive participant in his films. He's an active member of the crew and more recently a prominent producer of all of his projects. His focus and determination to pushing the limits of himself is also put upon the directors, fellow actors, and crews he works with. He simply elevates every aspect of a film. I particularly love his focus on practical filmmaking, even in small moments. Tom learned sleight of hand magic for this scene in Mission Impossible, something that could have easily been accomplished with a hand double. He became a real champion level pool player for Scorsese's Color of Money, and he learned how to fly a helicopter for Mission Impossible Fallout. Yes, learning to fly a helicopter is extreme and death-defying, but it's the same principle as learning magic. Both skills were hard and both tasks made the movie better. I think this level of dedication is sprinkled into every department of a film he's a part of.
Tom has a lot of experience at a lot of things, having the career that he's had and being the person that he is. And he doesn't do anything halfway.
No shit!
Take his first collaboration with Top Gun Maverick director Joseph Kosinski, the severely underrated 2006 sci-fi film Oblivion. I really love this movie. It has amazing practical set design, VFX, and props, but there's one scene in particular that I think really highlights the little things Tom and Joseph focused on to make this film so great. Check this out. This short montage of the bike being removed from the ship, the telescopic seat, Tom Cruise putting on sick goggles, and then him doing a sand burnout, to me, that is cinema. It's so damn easy to do all of this with CGI. Frankly, if this was another filmmaker outside of maybe Chris Nolan or Ridley Scott, I bet the dirt bike would have been CGI, and this would have been shot on some studio backlot. But this is all real. Everything was built and designed, and it's damn near perfect. Cruise handpicked Kosinski to helm Top Gun Maverick, and he brought along his other cinematic partner in crime, Chris McQuarrie from the Mission Impossible series. If you're a fan of Cruise movies, you know this is the holy trinity. So if you get these three guys together, that's how you end up with a film that just works so damn well, it hurts. This is a film that's been 30 years in the making. It's a concept that has no business being so great. A legacy sequel that on the surface seems like some sort of cash grab, but Top Gun Maverick is what Creed was to the Rocky series, an actual film. It's not Men in Black International or Too Fast and Furious.
All right, let's see what this thing can do.
I'm just kidding. I absolutely love Too Fast and Furious, but you know what I mean. It's not some cash grab studio schlock. Top Gun Maverick stands on its own, a real film by real filmmakers, all championed by Tom Cruise. MusicBed is my go-to service to find high-quality music for all of my projects. Every single one of my video essays and short films has been scored with tracks I've found on MusicBed, including this video you're watching right now. The reason I love MusicBed so much is simple. The music is just better than anything else I've tried. I put a lot of time and work into my videos, and the composers that MusicBed finds work just as hard to ensure their music is the best it can be. Now, trust me, I know finding tracks for your projects can feel like an endless pursuit, but MusicBed has really great tools to make it easy and enjoyable. Their curated playlists are an excellent place to start, and with keyword search including musical attributes, you can find the perfect track faster than ever. If all of this sounds good, pun intended, then click the link in the description to sign up for MusicBed. If you use the coupon code I'mPatrickT22 at checkout, you'll get 1 month free with the purchase of an annual subscription. Thank you again to MusicBed for sponsoring this video. What's particularly interesting about the filmmaking of Top Gun Maverick is that it had to follow in the footsteps of another groundbreaking technical achievement, Top Gun. The first Top Gun employed practical effects and tricks that are still used today. One of my favorites was this drill rig they used to create the cockpit vibrations while on the ground. It's so simple but so effective, and it looks great. The film was always held back by the technology of the era, but damn if they didn't try their hardest to pull it off. And obviously they succeeded enough for it to be known as an action classic with the legacy sequel 30 years later. And 30 years later, with the success of CGI, we now have infinite possibilities. We no longer need miniatures or practical sets, so you might ask yourself then, what's so special about Top Gun Maverick? Well, what makes it special is that it doesn't use CGI or sets. Remember Tom Cruise doing sleight of hand magic in Mission Impossible instead of using movie magic? Well, you could put actors in a fake jet and green screen everything, or you could literally put your actors through Air Force flight training and teach them how to operate cinema cameras at 15,000 feet in the air. Why? Because it makes the film better.
I'm okay.
In terms of the actual technical details of how they shot this, it's pretty badass. The crew rigged up Sony Venice cameras in the cockpits and taught the actors to operate them. The Venice has a system called Rialto, which allows the front sensor of the camera to detach from the main body, which is where all the electronics are, so you can get it into tighter places. They then paired these with fairly off-the-shelf prosumer lenses like these Voigtlanders, which are fairly affordable, but more importantly small enough to fit in the actual cockpit in front of the actors. Kosinski said they would film upwards of 6 to 8 hours and only get 30 seconds of usable footage for the film. In fact, they shot over 800 hours of footage in total. That's as much as 3 Lord of the Rings films combined. The team also employed a company called Cinejet, which has Aero L39 Albatross jets equipped with a custom gyro-stabilized camera system. If you've ever wondered how they shoot airline commercials, it's basically the same concept, but instead of shooting Delta Airlines, you're filming Tom Cruise flying a fighter jet.
For Top Gun, it was like years of development to try to figure out the technology, and not just me, but also how to educate others on how to do these aerial sequences and how can I best prepare these talented actors. And I'm a cinephile, always have been my whole life. I just watched movies and studied movies. And to be able to create motion and story within this kind of action it's very exciting. And how do I teach others how to do that if they want to know how to do it?
It's just so easy to imagine a cop-out version of this film, shot over a summer in a studio with CGI fighter jets and cockpit sequences. And even if the story was still great, the film wouldn't have the impact like it does now. Tom Cruise knows this because he understands movies. He's been a part of them since he was a kid, soaking up everything he can to understand what makes a movie work. Cruise also advocated for Top Gun Maverick to be shown in cinemas, delaying the film multiple times from COVID just to ensure all the hard work they put into it was shown in the best possible way. It's so hard to describe how crazy it is to experience this film in an IMAX theater. I'm about to sound like a marketing shill for the movie, but every turn, takeoff, dogfight is truly in your face. It's the closest to a VR experience I've ever had in a movie theater. If you thought the Penguin Batman car chase in the Batman kicked your ass, you're simply not ready for how the flying sequences feel in Top Gun Maverick. This is why Cruise reminds me more of a director like Christopher Nolan more than any of his similarities to other actors. I think Cruise and Nolan share a lot in common, pushing the limits of practical filmmaking, never settling for CGI to make things easier. If you're gonna crash a plane, crash a plane. If your actors need to scale an apartment building, why not have your actors actually scale an apartment building? This form of filmmaking is a dying breed, and Tom Cruise is possibly one of our last true movie stars. And as a producer, I think he's one of the last advocates for these types of movies in the world. Don't you find it insanely bizarre that Disney, one of the most profitable and richest studios in the world, is putting stuff like this on our screens? I'm not saying CGI is bad, it just has to be done right. And of course, we have directors like Kosinski, Chris McQuarrie, and Denis Villeneuve to thank for truly authentic cinematic experiences. But they're not actors, and that's something wholly unique to Tom Cruise as a filmmaker. And that's also not to discredit the directors he's worked with either. I just think he has partners that elevate his work and he elevates their work. He's not a one-man band, but he's the glue that holds it all together. So as audience members and fellow filmmakers, what can we learn from Tom Cruise? Ultimately, I think it's that we shouldn't cut corners. As filmmakers, due to budget restraints or time, we tend to try and always find the easiest way out. And I'm not telling you to go strap yourself to an airplane, but I think it matters in all the small details of filmmaking. If you can make a prop yourself, make the prop yourself. If the character in your film is a chef, perhaps the actor you cast should learn how to cook. I also think we shouldn't be passive participants in the films we watch. Just like Tom when he was young, soaking up everything he could watching movies and being on film sets, we can do the same things at home and in movie theaters. I always think watching movies and TV shows is my film school. It helps me develop my taste, and by learning how to make the things I like, I develop my craft, and those same things become part of the work that I create. And the more I repeat this exercise of consuming and creating, the better I get. Something we can all start asking ourselves and the crews we work with when we face a problem is, what would Tom Cruise do? And if you answer that question as Tom Cruise, that's how you end up with masterpieces like Top Gun